Friends, good evening. How are you doing out there? And welcome to another SPTV News live stream. This being a late night broadcast, as it's currently a little after 10 p.m. here in Los Angeles. Most of the audience, according to YouTube, 50% is in the good old US of A. So I'm sure most people are sleeping, sawing logs, getting ready for the work/school day tomorrow. But those that are here, and we can always count on Jeff, can't we? Those who are here, let us know where you're at and what we're going to be talking about. I wanted to actually do this late at night for two reasons. One, it's intense material. I'm going to give a trigger warning. I'm going to read out the description box so we don't get dinged for this. And also, we had a very helpful commenter today in the way of Annette point out that what we're going to do is we're going to go through this right here. Let me just show you real quick. And Jeff, by the way, it's been really good having you here lately, man, with your comments. He's always here trying to, in the pregame chat, trying to just chat with somebody and ever looking for Wendy, who I think has showed up. But fear not, Jeff. I think there'll be at least a few people here, even though it's late night. But let's get started. I'm going to show you what we're going to be dealing with today. So I was originally just going to go over a couple of clips that was on Tony Ortega's Substack from an interview with Kevin Pollock and convicted serial rapist and Scientologist in good standing, Danny Masterson. This is an interview that they did in 2012, and it is definitely the most damning piece of information of not only the predator hiding in plain sight, but bragging about it and getting off on it. So before we get into that and give the appropriate credit to Annette, Leo, who had the balls to actually post a full video 11 days ago, we're going to be going over more than just those two clips. We have the whole thing to work with. And I remember watching this many years ago. I went to look for it a few months ago on Kevin Pollock's channel and throughout the net, and it was taken down. But like I said, because of Annette pointing out where this video was posted 11 days ago, and Leo doing the really good solid work on the timestamps and everything that we're going to go over, and having the balls to put it back on YouTube, Leo, if I'll go down with you. So you have proven that we can talk about this. I can put this up, and it should not be taken down. And so let me just read the kind of trigger warning here first before we get started. This should cover all of our bases. And there's a lot of material to go over here. It's probably going to be about an hour and a half broadcast. I'm going to link in the description box Leo's Substack, the article that we go over with the timestamps, the full video to his channel. Please subscribe and help the dude out because he had the nerve to put this up. And I'm going to leave all the links in the description box to everything we go over. And we're only going to cover the pertinent clips. What I'm going to do is read out the timestamps, and then we're going to show you the clips, and I'll make comments and such as we go. The whole thing is really, really difficult to actually listen to. It's quite, in my opinion, a very disturbing video, not just from Danny, but Kevin Pollock, in my opinion, and the two people that are actually here. It's very, very revelatory. So disclaimer real quick. And also, as you can see at the bottom real quick, my friends, please feel free. It's always an interactive stream. Please feel free to leave some question marks before your comment or question, and we can throw them up, and you can interact if you have things that you'd like to say that appertain to the conversation. So this is what I wrote in the description box. Join us as we take a closer look at this resurfaced interview featuring Danny Masterson, actor from That 70s Show and now convicted serial rapist serving a life sentence, where he makes shocking and inappropriate, to say the least, controversial comments from the past on Kevin Pollock's chat show in 2012. And let's discuss its implications in today's context, what we know today. We believe it's essential to examine such instances critically, shedding light on issues that have often been overlooked or forgotten. Our goal is not to sensationalize, but to initiate a thoughtful conversation about the importance of accountability and awareness in the entertainment industry. Okay, so with that out of the way, like I said, this is the video we're going to be covering, compliments of Leo, who did the hard work. Earlier today, there was a video that I put out called Mother Who Defied Scientology Pedopredator Julian Swartz Comes Forward. It's an amazing story that was put out by Tony. It's sort of a part two dealing with Julian Swartz, who's been making the Scientology news lately. And the reason I bring this up is because this video that we did earlier today, God bless the commenting community who saved so much time by sending over links to me via email, dropping them in the comments, and just really being on the ball when it comes to finding stuff. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you go here, if you drop links, YouTube will suppress them. However, if you go here and you go down to newest comments, you can almost always pull up the links that are buried. And by doing so today, Annette dropped this link here. Doug 544 Camp Street posted the full video here on YouTube of the Kevin Pollock video that we're going to be discussing. And this is the video. Again, link in the description box after the video publishes over at his channel where he did post this thing. And Annette also put a comment here to him, which he pinned. And this is the full video right here that we're going to be going over. It's an hour and 33 minutes. Note the 33. No, just kidding. But like I said, we're going to be covering just the pertinent information, and there's a lot to cover. But anyway, so Annette said, thank you for posting this. Doug from Dazed and Not Confused had a clip of this in his live yesterday, but YouTube took the video down, and I really wanted to watch it again. And he replied, 544 Camp Street. I'm just glad I thought to download it. Yeah, no shit, man. I don't know how you thought to do that all those years ago. Or maybe you downloaded it in the last year before it got taken down. I'm just glad I thought to download it when I came across it. I wrote a post about it with timestamps and sort of a guide to some of the stuff they talked about. Danny mentioned a bunch of people and places relevant to the trial, but lots of people might miss the significance of if they weren't following the trial closely. Exactly. So we're going to be going over those timestamps and stuff. But let me first start with the article that Leo put out, alerting Tony Ortega, who included two short clips from it, but not the full video. And he's the one that created these really easy timestamps to go over that will allow us to navigate through this really quickly and easily. But again, there's a massive trigger warning. This is really gross and super revelatory about what went over probably a lot of our heads, myself included, when it was released in 2012, but it takes on a whole new light with what we know now. So this is Leo speaking. Let me stand by. Let me close down a couple of tabs here real quick to reduce buffering. We're talking about the resurfacing of an old Danny Masterson interview where he jokes about sexual assault. This is what Leo writes. Months ago, I sent the great Tony Ortega a tip about an obscure interview from over 10 years ago. Ortega, of course, is a writer who covers Scientology every day. In the interview, actor Danny Masterson appears on a YouTube program called Kevin Pollock's Chat Show. Masterson, of course, is a famous Scientologist who was on trial for 3 counts of sexual assault right now in LA. This was written, by the way, in May 2023. This is the article that gives the backstory and the important timestamps, and we know what happened since the reporting of this. The interview is a relic from the early internet era. It contains many edgy jokes, and Masterson makes a number of comments that are very relevant to the current trial. Masterson talks about his old DJ name, which is DJ Donkey Punch, which is an internet slang term for a violent sex act performed on a woman. Masterson also talks about a comedy film he was in, and they show clips. In one, he plays a divorce attorney whose catchphrase is, "I will R your spouse financially." See what I did there? I'm learning to clean up my words. I don't always have to say the P and R word out loud. I guess YouTube finally got into my head and they got me sketchy on what I can say. Stand by while lighting up a cigarette. This is going to need one. For a man who is facing up to 45 years in prison for assaults where the women allege Masterson drugged them, this is not a good look. The interview with Danny Masterson on Pollak's Chat Show was posted online on May 28, 2012. And has only 22,720 views as of this moment. The mainstream media have mostly ignored the Masterson trial. As we know, that's since changed in a big way, mostly, and that's good to see. But it's all-consuming news in the world of Scientology obsessives. This is the second attempt at Masterson, as the first trial ended in a hung jury in November 2022. Mr. Ortega has been in the courtroom covering the trials as an essentially the only source of news, as there are no cameras allowed. Again, as stated previously when we went over this in the video that was taken down by YouTube, Aaron Smith-Levin reported on it this time around. The case is starting to get a bit more play, in the media as of yesterday because of a huge bombshell revelation. And this appertains to the discovery materials in the case when they were leaked to Scientology. That's another detail for another time. The details are contained in the Radar Online story below, but in summary, an attorney for Scientology sent an email to the DA's office that contained a link. The link had folders that included much of the redacted information in the sexual assault that was confidential, including witness statements, photos, and police reports. The women who are accusing Masterson also allege that Scientology has been harassing and stalking them, so this is very much in character for Scientology. The judge in the sexual assault trial has issued an order to show cause, so this is very much a developing story. Again, we know what happened and how that actually developed. Now that trial number 2 is almost over, I thought I would publish what I had originally written. My notes are extensive, and only a couple of snippets were in the stories published by Tony based on my tip. I'm shocked this actually exists and wasn't taken down and scrubbed from the internet. Again, it looks like it was scrubbed from the internet, but Leo, the writer of this, put it up on his YouTube channel as of 11 days ago, and I'll leave a link in the description box if you'd like to watch the full video. There's a ton of damaging moments in this interview. That's an understatement, including Danny mentioning a bunch of people and places that have come up in the trial. I go over all the relevant portions with the timestamps and links below. Now, Kevin Pollock, who I met actually on set one day, I'll talk about that as we carry on. Kevin Pollock is a comedian and actor and was part of the excellent ensemble cast of the film The Usual Suspects as a demolition expert in a group of jewel thieves. And then he also has memorable roles, et cetera, et cetera. So this is the video that he privated, but again, he just had the balls to actually unprivate recently. The Masterson trial is hugely important for people in the anti-Scientology movement. The 3 women who are accusing Masterson of sexually assaulting them are all Scientologists. Allege that Scientology dissuaded them from reporting Masterson. None of this is surprising for those of us who follow Scientology close. They pull it in if something terrible occurs, like a sexual assault. And we've already covered all this in the previous video, like I said, that was taken down. I want to get into this because we have a lot to cover. I think I've included a lot of links in context, and this was quite the undertaking. Yes, Leo, and thanks for doing it, man. This is a deep dive, so let's grab some shovels and begin digging into this forgotten episode in this week's installment of The Internet Archaeologist. Now, we will get into this stuff. Let me pull it up here. So here's the timestamps that we're going to go over. But before we do that, let me throw you guys in the chat so we can hang out. Again, there's something about having you on the right side over here, which makes this material more tenable. Okay, so let me read you a few of the timestamps that give background to these clips, and then we'll watch them together. And like I said, I'll make any comments that are applicable as we go along. Let me remove this annoying thing at the bottom. Good evening, Cindy. Good evening, Jeff. It's so cool to see you over here, man. Just your little one-liners, desperately looking for Wendy, who I think has showed up. And welcome in the last week, my friend. So here we go. Let me close some timestamps here. So here's a list of the timestamps with the gist of notable moments in the conversation. This is what we're going to watch. At the 11:20 mark, Pollak introduces Danny. Then Pollak asks Masterson about Ireland, and Danny explains that he just got married over there in October in a manor house. And as we know, today he just got divorced by Bijou. There's a lot more to say on that, by the way. I did check out Aaron's video. On that, the Bijou, in my opinion, is distancing herself from Scientology, or maybe she's protecting her money that's going to be coming up in the civil suit. Who knows? But her making a move like this, I would suggest, is not out of the goodness of her heart to, oh my God, I was married to an abusive husband and I had no idea. I think there's a hell of a lot more coming forward about that. We shall see as it develops. And I think it has something to do with Scientology, undoubtedly. But we shall see on that. Carrying on. Okay, so I got to get a little faster on this so we can move quicker. So Pollak asks Masterson about Ireland, and Danny explains that he just got married over there to Bijou in October in a manor house at 13:17. Danny makes a throwaway joke about kiddie porn. 13:30, Pollak brings up Danny's DJ name. That would be DJ Donkey Punch. This is one of the main things I remembered from having previously watched this episode. When Mr. Ortega first began reporting this, first began reporting the story of criminal charges involving Danny, One of the early bits of context was Danny's DJ name. It triggered my memories of this podcast. Danny says he began DJing in 1997 to 1998 and didn't want to have a generic name. So, of course, the only obvious thing to do is to choose the Donkey Punch moniker, which was before the name was so well known on the internet. Danny thought it was funny when his name would be printed in a paper like the Wall Street Journal, which he says happened for years before people realized what it meant. Danny says he then started putting asterisks in the word to censor it. Now that I can relate to because I had to put the asterisk in the R word for this title. And then went to Donkey Pizzle when P. Diddy changed his name. Okay. And before we get to the clip, let me just read this to you as well. At the 15:17 mark, Danny talks more about the Donkey Punch name and what he thought it meant when he adopted it. This part is very creepy to watch in retrospect. Danny says he thought a Donkey Punch meant, quote, a shot to the ribs that made them cough to release the back muscles. Danny says the current definition involving someone in the back of the head is not the Donkey Punch he knows because, quote, that's too violent, or rather, that's violent. The line about violence is a deadpan joke, but it still has a sting to it, knowing what Masterson is now accused of, well, and what he's been convicted of when he went to trial. Okay, before we get into the executioner part, let's play these clips and get into it, shall we? Do I even have the fucking video pulled up? Okay, for some reason, I actually don't have the video pulled up or it got lost. So let me, this will take 2 seconds to find. I have to go to my channel because I'm not even sure it will show up in the algorithm. But like we talked about earlier, Annette left a link so that I could find this frickin' thing. So let me stand by. This won't take long. I'm going to pull this up. What do I need to do? Script box. Not very professional, Mr. Kramer. You should have had this pulled up. Okay, almost there. Go to the comments. Jeez, this is taking forever. This is not working. Oh shit, man. Let me just try to search for it. Danny Masterson on, let's see if it shows up actually, on Kevin Pollock Talk Show 2012. Hell yeah. Good job, 544 Camp Street, Leo. 6.8 thousand views with only 200 and some subscribers. 245 subscribers. Let's get him more subscribers. The man deserves it for making it safe to talk about this right now. Okay, so here it is.
Sideways through.
We're going to start at that 11, I believe it's the 11-minute and 20-second mark where he introduces Danny, and we're going to take it up to everything we just read out.
All right.
It's always been like that.
I need to stop by the page more often. So get yourself one of those or a T-shirt, you son of a bitch. We'll send it out right to you, and I think that takes care of today's business.
All right, that's all we have time for?
Yeah, that's all we have time for. Enjoy Memorial Day. Get home safe.
All right.
I'm very excited to have our guest here today. I'm trying to remember if we met prior to the poker table. You know what? We'll discuss it.
Did you play a round of golf with him?
No.
And have no.
No.
It's not a John Hamm situation?
Yeah, I know. That was really fun for me. Having John Hamm on the show and saying something, and he said, we actually met. We played 9 holes of golf together. Yeah.
You don't remember meeting the most handsome man ever.
We did not, actually.
Yeah. You and I didn't.
I'm glad I called you before I came here to make sure that we were.
That's Danny Masterson talking off screen. This might be a good time to show. They talked about poker. It was really all the rage, you know, maybe not just within the Scientology community, but back in the day in general, to play Texas Hold'em. And the Scientologist, Danny, and the whole crew, we were all obsessed with that. And that's what I'm sure Kevin was a part of those games. And just to show you who the hell Kevin Pollock is real quick, for those that might know. And when I met him, and also my similar poker addiction, just wanted to show you his IMDb, however you pronounce it. I should know this. I was a fucking actor. IMDb, International Movie Database. I'm sure we know what Kevin Pollock is known for. He was in The Usual Suspects. A Few Good Men, etc. Pretty damn good actor, in my opinion. And if you scroll down here on his IMDb page, there's something that he did where I actually worked an episode where I met this dude briefly. Where are we at here? 2012, 2011. This would have been way. Where is it? Where the hell is it? There it is. Life with Bonnie. He did one episode in 2022. And, I have yet to update my IMDb page. I can't believe they put this goofy foot fucking trailer up here on my page when it's like it's the last thing that I did well, that's a whole nother story, but this was not a real film and they didn't put up something that, actually was kind of cool. But anyway, so you can see here, again, I have to update my bio. I don't really give a shit anymore, but lifetime professional musician, has toured in a wide variety of styles of bands from death metal to reggae, is an avid surfer, poker player, and dog lover. So again, we were all back in poker. I just wanted to show you that I did actually meet the Kevin who we're talking about briefly. I don't have anything to say about that because it was so brief. I didn't know. Let's just say I think of him very differently after watching this video. And undoubtedly, he was another friend of Danny, probably, that ran in this very small clique in Hollywood that all seems to have one thing in common. They like to joke about stuff that the rest of us find absolutely disgusting. Maybe there's going to be more people. I don't know, man. I don't want to speculate, but I'm just very happy that this stuff is actually coming out and that Danny actually got convicted. So back to this disturbing video.
The same shirt.
Right. I got mine from the Little Jew Boy collection. You?
The Little Irish Boy collection.
Nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Same
which,
thing.
I've not been. Please tell me that it's extraordinary and beautiful as everyone insists it is, and by that I mean Ireland.
Oh, yeah, I just got married. In Ireland in October.
Put that down.
I've been a few times. Yeah, it's amazing. It's very green.
Damn it.
Right,
I'm
and you
so
married a
sorry.
castle,
Thank
I
you guys
understand,
for
from the
being
doc.
quick to remind me. I'm trying to mute it so I don't talk over Kevin and the sound quality is good, but thank you so much. And I'm so sorry for doing that. I need to remember that. What I just said was the reason I pulled up the ridiculous IMDb page in the first place is I wanted to show you that down here, here's where I met Kevin on the aforementioned Life with Bonnie episode back in 2002, and I was uncredited as male dancer number 1. So back to the video. Apologies about that. I'll bring it back slightly.
You know what? We'll discuss it.
Did you play a round of golf with him?
Nope.
And have no.
Nope.
It's not a John Hamm situation.
Yeah, I know. That was really fun for me. Having John Hamm on the show and saying something, and he said, we actually met. We played 9 holes of golf together. Yeah.
You don't remember meeting the most handsome man ever.
We did not, actually.
You and I didn't.
I'm glad I called you before I came here to make sure that we were going to wear the same shirt.
Right. I got mine from the Little Jew Boy collection. You?
The Little Irish Boy collection.
Nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Same
which,
thing.
I've not been. Please tell me that it's extraordinary and beautiful as everyone insists it is, and by that I mean Ireland.
Oh, yeah, I just got married in Ireland in October.
Put that
I've
down.
been a few times. Yeah, it's amazing. It's very green.
Right, and you married in a castle, I understand, from the dossier.
From the
Yeah.
yeah, we actually took this place called the Kilshane House over, which wasn't actually a massive castle, Game of Thrones style. It was more of like a
I know this is kind of lame, actors talking about actors and stuff, but it picks up here shortly. But I wanted to start at the beginning, not least because Bijou divorced him today. And he's talking about when he first got married, and this will set the stage for when they really start to quote unquote let their hair down.
Mm.
And then it had, I think 30 little stone cottages that they made 2 or 3 bedrooms in each one, all around the property.
For all the friends and family.
And smashed in the friends and family. It was actually pretty small.
Right.
Because we sort of decided whoever can fit in a bedroom or in a bed can come. So I wasn't able to bring all the relatives I wanted to and all the friends, but
None of your
just
giant
sort of
friends?
No, It was the small people.
They literally were tiny.
Yeah.
These beds.
The leprechauns.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those of you just listening coast to coast, that's Danny Masterson. Welcome our guest today. Thank you very much. Please be seated.
We should make a movie about Silk and Twist.
Yes. Are you excited now, like I am?
I'll be Silk, you'll be Twist.
Please.
We could do
Fighting backstage.
kitty porn. I don't know, something.
I love that they never get on stage. They're so angry.
I'll send you a list of names.
Yeah.
That's something that obviously would just slip out of someone's mouth when talking to Kevin, that they should do kitty porn together.
Silk.
Silk and Twist.
Shane West is
Oh, yeah.
Silk and Twist.
I like it.
Speaking of which,
If you're
I
just
mentioned-
joining us, I just want to say it one more time. They started out lightly in the first minute, as you saw, but it gets worse and worse and worse. And I just wanted to say that because it's freaking disgusting what these people are talking about. And Kevin too, just cackling away. No wonder he took it down from his freaking channel.
in the donkey punch.
Oh, yeah.
How does that become your DJ name?
name?
Just because you can't believe people are going to have to say it?
Yeah. Just because it was like, oh, I wonder if we can get this in the New York Times. And we did. And it would just, I started DJing in 97, 98. And
Right.
you don't want to be like DJ Danny Masterson. That just sounds not good. So you sort of all come up with something that's kind of funny.
Right.
And mine was DJ Donkey Punch.
Yeah, that's just so kind of funny, isn't it? Only a psychopath, in my opinion, would actually think like this and do the kind of stuff that you're about to hear. And again, it maybe says something about Mr. Pollak, who seems to be enjoying it and getting off on it too.
But this is also kind of like before the world of the internet and where the Facebooks and the Twitter and the whole thing, where everybody knows what everything means.
Right. You can't
So
instantly look
for
it up.
years,
Nobody
you
knows.
know, it'd be
Yep.
like,
And just like this, the internet was Scientology's Achilles heel, even though the internet wasn't necessarily Danny's Achilles heel, it is interesting to see this coming back to quote unquote bite him in the ass.
and Danny Masterson, aka DJ Donkey Punch,
Ex-cons
playing, this is in like the Wall Street Journal or something. And then they started doing the asterisks in the
Right.
donkey, like P, spot, and C, whatever it was. And so then I had to change it.
So you're saying for
DJ
a while.
Mom Jeans.
For a while.
Well, then I went to Donkey Pizzle.
Pizzle.
But I did that only when Puffy became P. Diddy. Mm-hmm. So I also announced my creative name change.
Did you go to Just a Symbol at one point?
No.
That would have been fun.
That
would have been awesome.
That's next.
I should have gone to Print, DJ Print.
That's next. So for a while, only ex-cons knew why you named yourself DJ Donkey Punch.
Pretty much, yeah.
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 The instant looking up, instant search now that it does exist, it's so funny because my understanding too is that it was very popular among the prison world, this phrase, Donkey Punch. But
Yeah.
when you go online, it's all heterosexual, everything's fine. This is what happens to your girlfriend or sexy lady partner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is that when I had the Donkey Punch, it was a shot to the ribs
Really?
that made the cough to release the back muscles. But then I think it became back of the head where you knock somebody out or something.
Yeah.
And that's not the Donkey Punch I know.
That's not the one you condone.
No, because that's violent.
I
Yeah.
sincerely hope that our uninformed listeners and
Yeah.
viewers have access to Google
Yeah.
as they're listening
Right
to
now,
this.
you mean?
Right now.
To pull up the visuals?
Because if they don't know, if they're unfamiliar, I want them to make sure they pause whatever they're doing right now, Google it, and then come back.
Yeah.
Because I don't want them to be out of the loop on this.
You know what? You just reminded me of my first question that I've leapt frog over. Josh, standing by. The question that I want you to think about while we show this clip is what it was like to work with the Sam Levine.
What?
Roll clip, please.
No.
Okay, let me read you out the next segment here so that we can follow along with what the hell is this all about. Again, this went right over my head, and I'm sure many other people when they were originally watching it, but man, is this shit telling. Back to Leo's timestamps. 16:15, they show a clip, which you're about to see, of what appears to be an indie movie. Masterson is playing as a divorce attorney named Morris the Executioner Rodriguez. The clip reminds me of the Tim and Eric show because it is very over the top and made to look like a lo-fi or lo-fi local commercial. At 16:40, Danny's catchphrase as the divorce lawyer is, "I will R your spouse." pregnant pause. Financially, again, very unsettling in retrospect. Yeah, I mean, really showing it right, shoving it right in people's faces and then laughing about the inside joke. But it's not an inside joke anymore, is it now, Danny? 1650, we have a scene with actor Sam Levine playing a happy client of the executioner, giving a testimonial about how he took his wife to the cleaners and got to keep all of his stuff. Quote, the executioner really took the slut to the cleaners. Yikes. At 1702, the next scene is Levine's character's ex-wife dressed in a trash bag looking through a garbage can. Quote, why did I hire the executioner? Masterson's character walks on screen and says, because you're an idiot. Don't make the same mistake. Call now. Superimposed on the screen, we see a local TBS graphic. Morris, the executioner Rodriguez, 555, rape spouse. 1744, and then we go back to a two-shot of Masterson. So let's watch what we described. Again, trigger warning if you're just joining us. The remainder of this broadcast is just gets more and more disgusting.
Those of you just listening.
Are you tired of lackadaisical lawyers sitting behind their cushy desks making faulty promises? Well, I don't even have a desk because I'm too busy to sit. I'm too busy working for you. Hello.
That's my favorite
Hello.
right there.
I'm Morris, the executioner Rodriguez, divorce lawyer, and I will rape your spouse. Financially. But don't take my word for it. Take this guy's word.
Who's this?
That's right, I kept it all.
What?
The house, the car, even my wife's clothes. The executioner.
Just want to say real quick, the two clips that Tony Ortega put up when Leo came forward and gave him the full video, and all we could find recently was the two clips that you previously saw. So all of this material is very new new as it's been put back up on YouTube as of 11 days ago. Again, link in the description box for the full video, but it's very telling, even more so than those two clips that Tony put out.
Really took that slut to the cleaners. But don't take my word for it. Take hers.
Why didn't I hire the executioner?
Because you're an idiot. Don't make the same mistake. Call now.
Oh, man.
There was a fly.
I want to know what the fuck we're actually watching here. I mean, did that ever see the light of day? What the hell is that? Why is that funny? And I don't know. There's something I don't get. But again, our astute community, I'm sure, will be able to fill me in on what the fuck we're actually watching here. So back to the timelines. This is the next thing that we're going to watch. Back to a two-shot of Masterson and Pollak chatting. Masterson explains that his brother Chris, that would be Chris Masterson, directed the, quote, commercial. Okay, so supposedly that was a commercial. Where were they going to air that? They just watch a clip from, which is, part of a movie called Made for Each Other. Right, okay. We're going to watch a clip from that, which is very revealing in itself. And reading the IMDb for the film, it sounds like it is a very ribald comedy film. IMDb describes the plot as a man in a sexless marriage trying to find a partner for his wife so he can get rid of her or something. It came out in 2009 and has 4.4 stars out of 10, and the top review sums it up thusly. It's a guy movie with the usual sources of humor: penises, erections and intercourse, homosexuality, vaginas, periods, menopause, old people having sex, young people having sex, plus a quick flash of authentic testicle. Okay, before we get to Bijou Phillips, let me show you the trailer for this fucking movie, and then we'll hear them talk about it, and we'll carry on. This has many Scientologists in it, too. It's a totally low-budget movie, and I don't know how I missed this amazing film.
Babe, I'm sleeping.
That's Chris Masterson, by the way, the brother. Let me just tell you real quick. There's Chris Masterson, Bijou Phillips, Alana Masterson, Danny Masterson's father, and I might be missing someone, but those are just a few of the Scientologists that are in this movie. Did anybody ever see this? Let me know if you actually saw this. 1, in the comments if you've seen it. 2, if you haven't seen it and would wish you hadn't seen what you're just about to see after we show you this.
Babe, I'm sleeping.
Morning, Mrs. Hyatt.
Did you have any luck last night?
Any good news?
No.
I'm just a freshman and even I'm getting every night.
So, nothing. It's a
That was Alana Masterson that you just saw, who said I should get fucked every night, and this is Sam Levine.
vaginal piercing the night before their wedding.
3 months since we got married. I'm going insane here.
Morning, Don.
It's official. You have the hottest sister-in-law in the world. You should pull a sister swap.
I could never cheat on Marcy.
We're running a little behind on the floppy ball line. Appreciate it if you could stay a few extra hours.
Okay.
Who's the boss now, huh? Who is it? Who's the boss?
My marriage is over.
Only if you tell Marcy. What if she had an affair? That way when you go to confess, she'll feel so bad that she has to forgive you.
You find a guy, you coach him on Marcy's turn-ons, and then he sleeps with her.
That's what we've been talking about all day.
For real?
I want to find an outsider. Real wham bam thank you ma'am kind of guy.
That actor, Mac McKenzie.
Waterworld the musical. That could actually work.
I need you to sleep with my wife.
Is she hot?
Very.
Your wife is a babe. I am definitely
That was Bijou Phillips, and here she is
looking forward to
again, who just divorced Danny, undoubtedly for reasons to protect her own ass as of today.
hot tamale of yours. Marcy like to be on the top or the bottom.
This can't happen. Just
You know what? I gotta go.
you son of a...
That's a shame.
And I will rape your spouse.
I'll do it. I will sleep with Marcy, but I'll tell you right now, I'm not gonna enjoy it.
Well, that'll make two of you.
That looks like a great movie. I can't wait to search Amazon Prime and see if that's on the list. Let me read you a little bit more about what you just saw, and then we will carry on with the actual interview where he talks about this. So Danny lists the cast of the film, including Bijou Phillips, his wife, who he had just married and now again divorced as of today, and a guy named Kyle Howard. Danny relates a story about Howard's testicle popping out during filming, and that they, which I'm assuming means he and his brother Chris, told Howard they wouldn't use the footage of the testicle. They put it in the film anyways. Apparently, Howard has only one testicle in real life. Jesus Christ, man. Okay, carrying on.
That sounds like...
Boy,
It's like, flies are gross, they have AIDS!
what's also nice is that it kind of coincided with the super coming onto the screen and the music sting when you went like that. And the first time I saw it,
I didn't realize how powerful my flavor saver was
oh yeah,
in that film.
it was.
Oh, it was epic.
My brother Chris Masterson
Directed that.
directed that commercial
Right.
for the film Made for Each Other.
Made for each other.
That
Available on
that Sweet
Amazon,
Sammy,
wherever DVDs are
Sweet
sold.
Sammy.
That's interesting, by the way, my friends, because I talked about, I met Chris Masterson just once briefly at a play that Carol Masterson, his mother, and my then manager brought him and Bijou and other Scientology operating thetans out to. When I met him, he seemed like a pretty cool guy, but he was his brother, right? He filmed the commercial he's just saying about, what we just saw. So it just makes me wonder. It makes me wonder about Chris, how much he knew and what his background might possibly be. Carrying on.
Stars in with Chris and Bijou Phillips and Lauren German and Patrick Warburton.
Patrick Warburton.
Kyle
And,
Howard.
Kyle Howard. You get to see his balls.
Hello,
You
balls.
get to see his ball. It's one ball.
one ball.
We convinced
There
him.
he is bragging about the guy and how it's just, oh my God. I hope we can get through this crap. This is just stomach churning. I just don't even want to watch this shit.
That we wouldn't put it in the movie.
And yet,
And we did.
And there it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
It's he's stretching. And,
Oh,
and he's got and then literally the ball pops out.
And the
Really
immensely
short.
talented George Siegel is
George
also
Siegel,
involved in the
yeah.
picture.
He played
Leslie
Dad.
Hendricks and a great cast.
Jamie's still
Unbelievable
upset that male genitalia has replaced boobs and bush of the 70s.
cast. It's the new gold standard of comedy.
Yeah.
It's all balls and penis. No
Yeah.
more boobs and bush. That
Sometimes
was 80s.
real
That was
penis,
80s.
sometimes not.
Yeah.
as we found with Joe Latrilio, who's
Wow.
here.
Okay, let me read you out the next part of the timestamp. If you're just joining us, we're going over this, which is a resurfaced video of a Danny Masterson interview where he talks with Kevin Pollock, and it's very revealing and extremely disgusting in light of recent events. So at the 21:30 mark, Pollock asks a question that was sent to him from Danny's co-star, Adam Bush. Bush asked Danny's advice for the best way to make a move on a girl once you've got him back to your place. At 21:44, Danny's answer is again very chilling if you've been closely following the trial. Oh, you just invite them for a shower. Pollock asks as if this is because she needs to clean herself. And Danny says, yeah, you just say, let's clean ourselves together. In one of the alleged sexual assaults, it's not alleged anymore, Danny took a woman into a shower. The woman testified that she was intoxicated, possibly roofied, and Danny stuck his fingers down her throat to induce fun. The woman testified that Danny then dragged her to his bed and raped her while she was falling in and out of consciousness. So let's watch that part, I guess.
Sure.
I mean, Jason Segel must have the most beautiful cock of all time, right? the close-ups of his cock in Sarah Marshall, and you're like, wow, it's
But
not
is there-
even wrinkled or veiny. It's just like a perfect
Is there
prosthetic
anything
cock.
more aesthetically
real.
enjoyable than a flaccid
Is
male?
Danny possibly bi too? I mean, who the hell talks like this? Who talks about another man's cock? None of this is really making any sense to me, actually.
penis? I don't think so.
It's about as good as it gets. Especially
It's a
when
wonder.
cold, when it's cold.
It's a wonder that women talk to us at all.
It is,
If that's
right?
all we have to offer.
I don't know what the
This
problem is.
old angry one-eye. Now here's question number 2. Will you ever forget your first Yinling?
The first what?
That's not the correct answer.
Oh, that's a beer.
It's not only a beer.
From Wisconsin.
Close. Pittsburgh.
Well, Pittsburgh.
No, not Pittsburgh, just Pennsylvania.
Well, it's from Pittsville, right?
Pottsville.
Pottsville.
It's the
I've had
Not
that beer.
Pottersville.
oldest when you shot the bridge to nowhere in Pittsburgh.
Right.
This is when I'm assuming you had yourself a Yinling because they won't let you get out of there without
Without
having
having that. Yeah.
It's the oldest brewery.
Let me get to 21:30 to cut through the BS where Danny talks about how to make a move on a woman.
You're on your way, buddy.
We'll see. We'll see.
Your third question comes from your current co-star, Adam Bush.
Sweet Bushy.
He DM'd me on the Twitter and said, make sure you ask the Masterson his advice, the best way to make a move on a girl once you've got him back to your place.
Oh, you just invite him for a shower.
Of course. That's the move that's been missing.
Yeah.
You say you need to clean yourself?
Well, you say, let's go clean ourselves together. Like, it's conversational.
want a
Like,
shower?
like, you're like, oh, we should go take a shower.
Do you ever pat him on the ass and say, good game, let's hit the showers?
After the shower. After you've had a good game. Then you give them a
Right.
good game.
Good game. Shall we shower?
Silky and twisty.
Yep.
The second part of his question, perhaps you could also help us with obtaining the secret to the perfect golf swing. I actually watched, there's a little video of you swinging.
Oh, no.
Okay, I don't think this is that important. Let's get back to the thread. And thanks for the comments that you guys are making along the way, because this is really appalling and shocking. So we talked about Adam Bush, talked about Danny's advice to make a move on a woman. At 21:44, let me see if we've hit that yet. Okay, we're about to hit this next clip. Danny's answer is again very chilling if you've been closely following the trial. Okay, that's the shower part. That's what we need to listen to first, and then we're going to get into, we'll be able to move quicker. Sorry for interrupting. It's just a little hard to follow this timeline. So here we go. Danny on how to make a move on a woman.
Was that good or bad?
On the YouTube.
Really?
It looked like the perfect swing to me. Yeah, really.
It-
like in
was
some
it from the-
gorgeous
was it
valley.
from the tournament where
I guess we did already cover that. Sorry, I'm really getting distraught just by actually listening to this. I put it on 2x speed when the gal informed me that the full video is up, but just taking this in, I'm getting a little distracted. Sorry about that. So at the 23:54 mark, this is another boring bit of conversation. Danny explains he got into golf a year and a half ago because his friends explain you can drink and gamble. That's what that clip was about. Not too important. 32:30. Danny talks about doing radio at a radio station called Indie 103.1 for 6 years. It sounded like there was some friction between Danny and the programmer of the station. An Entertainment Weekly article in October 2008 describes how Danny's show got pulled after creative differences. Again, Leo, who created and did this, created all these links and did this amazing research. Link in the description box if you guys would like to dig into some of these companies and these links and all this good information that this guy leaves. So maybe we can get more information about Danny's companies and such. There's more coming up here that's very interesting. Again, we're only going to play the pertinent clips, and I'll just read you off the lesser pertinent ones just so we can get through this without vomiting. At the 36:15 mark, there's discussion of Harvard and Stone, a bar owned by Danny, his brother Chris, and Mark and Joni Houston. The Houston brothers are fraternal twins who have a hospitality business based out of LA, according to their website. Harvard and Stone appears to be still open based on social media and Yelp reviews. Danny says it's the best bar in Hollywood and features the best, quote, mixologists, which I remember being a term that was in vogue at the time, along with molecular gastronomy and pastropub. At 38:50, Danny describes growing up and being a model from ages 4 to 14. Danny did a Broadway show at age 8 called Dragons. That's kind of impressive, actually, to do Broadway at age 8. So clearly he was a child star, and we know what happens to so many child stars with stage mothers, if Carol is in fact that, when they get older. Danny did many national commercial spots, did 150 commercials before stopping at 16, got the Beethoven movie, which was his first studio flick. Then he got a show called Joe's Life, which was on for one season before Home Improvement. Worked on Roseanne and Party of Five. Sybil for 2 years. Now we're definitely going to listen to, because this appertains to Carol Masterson, his mother, and you can even see the weird bonding, in my opinion, that he has just talking about his mother and the way he talks about her. Before we play the clip at 41:35, let me read it out. Mom Carol is Danny's manager. Again, she was my manager from approximately late 2004-ish to 2007, and I did suss that something was going on that I couldn't make sense of at the time, but I sure as hell can now. So Mom Carol is Danny's manager. Danny says some people think it's funny, but it's awesome because they're friends, and all of Danny's friends are friends with her, and she talks to them as peers. Carol manages all the other actors in the family, and she also has other clients. Tried a big management company for 2 years, but his mom did a much better job. The Masterson clan includes Chris Masterson, who was on Malcolm in the Middle, Alana Masterson, who was on The Walking Dead, and Jordan Masterson, who was in The 40-Year-Old Virgin. That probably should be updated to Last Man Standing TV show with Tim Allen that he actually finally got, a series regular role on. Carol appears to be a momager of the highest order. That's interesting. She totally denied that in those letters of leniency that she wrote, claiming she's not a stage mom. But I would say you're absolutely right, Leo. I think she's bullshitting about that. And she very much was into managing them and making some freaking money off of her kids. It's just my opinion, YouTube. So let's see, 46. Okay, so let's just play this clip here real quick. It talks about Masterson. How long is it? So probably a few minutes. And then we'll pick it up from here, and we'll just show you the important information that appertains to the disgustingness of what we're talking about. So that would be at the 41 mark. Let me pull it up. Right about here.
LA Law?
We were on right before Home Improvement. It was literally the only way that anyone ever knew.
Oh, wow.
Because that was the biggest show at the time.
Yes.
So, and then from that show, and then I did that show in Utah right after. And I worked on Roseanne a little while, Party of Five, and some other things, and then got Sybil for 2 years.
Right. That's what I want to ask first about.
Yeah.
Now, was it after the 70s thing that your mom said you need to sign with a big management company?
No,
now?
that was before
that.
70s. Yeah, because people, my mom is my manager, which some people think is funny, but it's awesome because
wildly fortunate is what I would think.
Yeah, it's amazing. She's my really good friend. We never had that sort of like. I don't have that like. It's my mom.
This might explain why Carol and Danny are both mutually protecting each other. It's one thing to be a mother and defend your kid, but frickin' Carol had to listen to those 2 trials of these gals breaking, hyperventilating, explaining in fine detail what her son did to these people, and she still wrote that letter of leniency, claims to not be a stage mother, and is just not acting like anything like I would say is a typical mom reaction. Scientology, of course, plays into that too. But seriously, man, what gives?
Mom's my buddy. My mom is friends with all my friends, and
Right.
my friends, in Long Island could come and ask her, hey, Carol, what do I do about blah, blah, blah? And she would talk to them, as like a buddy as opposed to like, don't think those thoughts. You know what I mean?
Right. And she always had a stable of actors.
Yeah, well, it started with just the family.
Right. You and your
My brother Chris works a lot. My brother Jordan works. My sister Alana works. And my brother Will was the smart one who went to college and studied economics.
Yeah.
And then once we all got older and she wasn't driving us to our auditions every day, then she started taking on more clients, and now she has a roster of working actors.
Right. And
If you're just joining us, we're discussing, we're going over Kevin Pollock, just talking to Danny Masterson. This appertains to Carol Masterson, his very good friend and manager, and the roster that he says that started to form. That's when I kind of jumped in, and she took me and other basically Scientologists on. To my knowledge, there wasn't any non-Scientologists that were a part of her roster. Like I said a million times, once you get into Scientology, it operates like a clique. It does have connections in Hollywood, and you're often given, in a certain way, instant connections.
For quite some time.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's great. So anyway, so at one point,
But there was a while she said you need.
She was like, I think we should get you, a
big
manager, to help your career. And I was like, all right. So we went and met up with a bunch of people and picked this company that was huge and had all these famous whatever.
Right.
And after 2 years, all I did was get jobs from the people I kept working for, or it'd be my mom calling the cast director to get me in still because she knew them from '83, when they were in New York, and now they're running CBS or whatever, and this management company's like, oh yeah, they're not really seeing your type for this or whatever.
Isn't that amazing?
And so I just fired them. They got free money for 2 years,
How
and then I fired
worthless
them. And
those giant management companies are, unless
Yeah.
you are.
yeah, because your manager's there to hustle for you, so
What?
who hustles harder than your mom?
I can't imagine, because I know mine does, and she's not in the business at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Breckenmeyer, your new boss, let's jump around a little bit more.
Okay, that's very telling about the relationship with, Carol and Danny. And also, he makes a good point. Who would hustle more for you than your mom? But, was she a non-stage mom and Danny just took to it all by himself? Or was she putting more pressure? Did she contribute to maybe where Danny wound up today? So the next part, before we watch the clip, let's read out some more, and then I'll show you the clips of the parts that are pertinent. Extended discussion of Danny's new show, Men at Work. Now here's another familiar name that kicks in. Ethan Suplee guest stars in the show. Ethan Suplee is a Scientologist, still in the cult, and is good friends with Danny. Again, small clique in Hollywood. Scientologists often work with each other on various projects and hire fellow Scientologists. Ethan Suplee guest stars in the show. Pollak does too, playing a role they describe as a Ukrainian Hitler impression. J.K. Simmons is also a co-star. Suplee is another celebrity Scientologist. Not sure if that's too important to show you that. Let me see what we got at 48, and I might show you the Hitler reference. Danny jokes about having a threesome in the show with actress Stacy Keibler. He makes some pretty heinous jokes, including referring to the threesome as a Bermuda Triangle and an Eiffel Tower. For good measure, Danny tosses in a sheep sex joke, as one does, right? 48, 45, awkward transition to an ad. Okay, before we get to that ad, let's bring it up to the 48-minute mark, and then I'm gonna show you some more interesting stuff as we go forward.
Wicked funny.
So people know him, of course, as an actor for a long time. He's even on a show now.
Franklin and Bash.
Franklin and Bash on the TNT.
Never mind.
Yeah. Part of the Turner family.
But had he created shows before this one?
No, he's been writing on Robot Chicken for the last 6-8 years, I think, since Seth started that show.
Which is great. You're writing little gags. You're writing these 15...
Let's go to the 46-minute mark with the Hitler joke. We'll carry it up to the 48-minute mark, and then we'll hit the business ventures that Danny's in, which are telling.
A couple days ago, two extraordinary numbers, if not record numbers for the time slot.
It did really well.
Yeah,
we were stoked. We were nervous, and they played 2 episodes, And the second episode, you know, it only dipped like a very, very small percentage, which means they liked it enough to watch the next one.
Yeah.
And that second one had Ethan Suplee guest starring in it. And sweet Pollak. I think your episode's coming up pretty soon.
Is it? What?
Oh, you don't know Pavel?
While you were out
from
of
the
town.
hit show Men at Work?
While you were out of town. I might have done an episode of Men at Work.
He played a Ukrainian Hitler impersonator.
I thought you only
I
did
want
that
to
in-
know what it's like to sit at this toilet. I was like, Pavel, you're
Well,
so
the moment called for me
Nazi-esque.
to get angry, and I went to
And you
a
went
dark
straight to
place.
Hitler.
I went straight to Hitler. I have two modes. Right. One is pissy. Hitler.
Right.
The second speed.
Right. Yeah.
Apparently. And it was so funny when Brecken came over after between takes when we decided to do a slightly lighter version. And I said, I've always wanted to do Hitler in a sitcom, and he fired back his response so fast, which was something like, "Yeah, congratulations."
You finally made it. Anyway, so we can just...
Anyways, we'll do a lot different this time. So I imagine...
And also, this fucking guy comes over, does the show, and after he walks out of the scene for the first time, the crowd erupts like it's Fonzie in Happy Days. We're now like, the next time we do the take, he walks in, and then they're like,
And what I loved also is that you and your co-stars, because Adam Bush, our friend, of course, was in the show. We're all no guest stars have gotten applause like that before.
Yeah,
and I said, "You've done 4 episodes. Stop saying like it's year 5."
Yeah, we've been trying this forever. Can't get an applause.
You're the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after, but J.K. Simmons,
J.K.
and
Simmons,
Ethan
Suplee. I think next week's episode is where James LaShore convinces me to have a devil's threesome with him and Stacy Keebler.
Whoa!
So we tag team the shit out of her.
A devil's threesome?
Otherwise known as a Bermuda Triangle.
Bermuda.
We went the Eiffel Tower.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is that anything like Silk and Twist?
Yeah. It's what Silk and Twist used to do.
We used to do that after our shows.
With sheep, but they're doing it with Keebler.
Who's counting?
Again, I can think of no better time than to say, this Father's Day, there's only one perfect gift. How we go?
Bermuda Triangle.
Always right from the sex. It's the Man Grate Grill Enhancement System. What a Man Grate is, you ask? I'll tell you. Man Grate's 100% made in America cast iron grilling grates. These heavy-duty grilling grates deliver exactly what you need to achieve that steakhouse flavor. With Man Grate's patent-designed chicken, steak, or veggies will never taste so good. No more flare-ups, no more dry meat, guaranteed. Because you're a fan of this show, take advantage of the $20 off Kevin
Okay,
Pollock's
so this is when he goes into the weird thing. Sorry, I had to take a quick break there. This is when he goes into this odd ad. I'll just read it out, and then we'll carry on. So this is let me make sure I'm sharing the right tab. So this is the 45 minute mark that we're at in this hour and a half long, just disturbing interview, awkward transition to an ad read for the Man Grate grilling system. All I could think of during this ad was the great Norm Macdonald's hilarious read of the Man Grate sponsor promo. Man Grate pulled their ads because Norm goofed on the product. This video is not really worth watching, and again, link in the description box for everything if you want to go check it out. But I just want to move to the stuff that is important. So at 51:30, there's a discussion of a buddy cop TV pilot Danny did with fellow Scientologist Ethan Suplee that had production issues. Danny describes there being a political issue with the producers that caused him to replace Ethan Suplee. It would be interesting to know if Scientology played a role. I'm quite sure they did, as they have a tendency to be behind even shenanigans that we didn't know about. 54:20, Malcolm in the Middle on that 70s show conversation about how both shows were popular on Fox at the same time, and Danny was on one and Chris Masterson the other, and felt they could get away with anything. I'm sure they were living the high life. 54:50, wouldn't that be ironic if they play reruns or somehow Danny has access to a television, in prison and he can watch reruns of that 70s show? 54:50, Danny talks about how Fox upfronts were fun during this period. And we can only imagine what he means by fun. as he and Chris got to rage it up. I can only imagine what sort of shenanigans they got up to. At 55, there's a long segment on poker. Again, that was very much a part of the Scientology lifestyle. When I was in it, everybody would get together and play Texas Hold'em. 5710, Danny mentions he owns a piece of Card Player magazine. There's quite a tally of businesses owned by Danny mentioned in this podcast. Card Player magazine is still a going concern with daily stories on their website. I do wonder too, with all these business connections and ventures that he's in, which we're going to talk, which is coming up here, how much money Danny really might actually have, despite, selling his house, moving to San Ynez, etc. He had many business ventures where it would be interesting to know what his net worth actually is. We know he blew a lot of that on the trial, but is he broke or does he still have money coming in? Is that why Bijou divorced him? Who knows? Stay tuned. It's like a fucking soap opera, like of the worst kind. 5930, Pollak brings up Bunny Wiggins, which is apparently a film that Danny has been trying to get made for a while. Danny says that it is one of the greatest scripts of all time, and Bree Schaefer wrote it. Now, Schaefer was Danny's assistant and friend. Schaefer's been mentioned many times in both sexual assault trials. She was in proximity to some of the alleged victims, and they're not alleged anymore. Tony Ortega has also written articles about how Danny transferred some of his homes and property to Schaefer shortly after the accusation. I'm sure anybody following the story knows what we're talking about on that. One can make an inference this was because Danny wanted to shield the property from legal jeopardy. I would say that's absolutely correct. There's a link to the article if you'd like to see it in full. Now at 101, there's a discussion of Carsey Werner, which is a big-time production company responsible for none other than The Cosby Show. I point this out because there are obvious parallels between Danny and Bill Cosby. Danny talks about how they got him all the best gigs and were also involved in him booking That 70s Show. Interesting. Small world in Hollywood. Danny talks about the audition process for That 70s Show. He read monologues as various characters, including a gay redneck character. Pollak asked Danny to do some of the gay redneck, and Danny, remarkably and wisely, sidesteps the request. At 104, oh my God, talk about true crime on steroids again. This is a story that I really want to do a deep dive on in the future because it's super bizarre. At 104, Danny describes how he booked a job in Yes Man as Jim Carrey's best friend. Jim Carrey is tangentially tied to Scientology because he dated a woman named Catriona White, who was a Scientologist. Do you guys remember this story back in 2015? White took her own life in 2015. Ortega has written about White and Carrey several times, including an article about how Scientology spied on Carrey. I'm sure we're going to go into that because that looked really, I don't want to say too much, but let's just say that Jim Carrey's involvement is interesting. I think we'll go ahead and play that part, actually. Let's see what that has to say. I mean, if it's at 104, let me read you what 105 is too, so I don't have to keep jumping back and forth, and we'll start at 104. Fan questions, Kunis or Prapon? Quote, I'll take them both. Kuchar or Wilmer? I'd fuck them both. Again, is Danny bi? Why would you fuck Wilmer? This Danny guy is a wordsmith, a regular Bill Shakespeare, I tell you. So let's watch the 104-minute mark. Again, if you're just joining us, massive trigger warning because this entire discussion that we've been having tonight watching these videos is repulsive.
For Peyton Reed and the writers.
When does that ever happen?
And
4 months.
4 months later, I literally auditioned once.
Yeah.
And 4 months later, they called like, oh yeah, you just booked Yes Man. You're playing Jim Carrey's best friend.
And you had kind of forgotten about it.
And I was like, from what?
When?
Who?
I heard.
And then I was like,
I heard booked.
I was like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like it was being punked or something, and not because I was like, oh my God, but I was like, I don't think I even had a very good audition for that.
No, you did apparently.
Apparently, my audition was all right.
I want to go to our live folks to offer up some of their questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
We have a thing.
I address to the right.
Yes, excellent. We have. Oh, that was one of them. We can scratch that one up. We have a thing on the show where we ask 5 rapid-fire questions. It's called a Tweet 5.
Team 5. Team 5.
All right, this is super lame, and we're not going to play all of it, but it's very. Just listen to this.
Team 5 forever now.
Thank you, Dave Keckner. These are
we got the big
questions.
guns.
Can I download that on iTunes?
You absolutely can. We can make it your ringtone if you need. These are designed specifically for you by the fans. It's a rapid fire Coke or Pepsi, no correct answer kind of 5-question situation. This one from @Adam Gergen, because that's a name, Adam_Gergen, if you will. Kuner Suprepon. That's number 1.
I'll take them both.
Okay. Kerwood Smith, meaner in RoboCop or as Red?
RoboCop.
Kutcher or Wilmer? Wilmer.
Oh, is this where I have to do the one like, which one do I kill, marry, and fuck?
No, they just
Because I'd fuck both of them.
Okay, good. Also the correct answer. Cheech or Chong?
Well, Chong. Chong's my boy. Cheech's a nice guy, but working with Tommy for years, that's my road dog.
And last
Just
one.
real quickly on that, Kerry went through a transformation, quote unquote, as we know, where he showed up at the models event talking about how we're all one consciousness and shit. Yeah, I think that, I don't think, but I'd like to back it up with information before just spouting this. I don't think it's a secret to the listeners that follow this channel. Hollywood is like a cult. It's not totally dissimilar to Scientology, and it's absolutely disgusting, basically. Again, there's more to say about that, but the kind of stuff that they're talking about here really is, as they say in the cult, restimulative. Because not only, again, just seeing Kevin Pollock's face throws me right back to 2002 when I met him. And all the people that have been coming up lately, it's bringing back many Hollywood memories, which I'd like to share in future videos. Sorry for the ramble. Let's carry on.
Stones or Zeppelin?
Rolling Stones. I love Zeppelin, but the Rolling Stones are my second favorite band behind Pearl Jam.
Holy shit.
All of their sort of junky years, early 70s albums.
Did you see Mick on SNL last Saturday?
I did not, but I have it TiVoed and I'm going to watch it.
Right.
Because my friend Nikolai...
Okay, that's good enough on that. So let's carry on with, I'm not sure if we actually got to the fan questions where he talks about Kuchar and Wilmer. Let's see. Let me 1.5 speed it so we don't keep you here forever, but I want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Who's the bass player in the Strokes, played with Arcade Fire and Mick Jagger. So,
and you know he does a song with Jeff Beck, just the two of them?
Oh, wow. Who? Mick Jagger?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Did he host as an actor as well?
Yeah.
Interesting. Does he have something going on right now, or he's just Mick Jagger?
Playing it at 1.5 speed actually helps capture the true essence of Danny as a little crying, girly baby. This voice intonation sounds more spot on for his true character.
Is it like a new book, or is there a new
I think
promoting?
It's forever in the making.
Yeah, I think it's just Mick Jagger.
Has he ever hosted it before?
They've been asking him to do it for 35
and the Stones
years.
are probably never played. Did the Stones play it back in the 70s?
I can't imagine.
Right.
J-Mac answers.
Yeah.
This next tweet, 5.
I think I did. That was 5. You did another 5?
You did well.
So it's T10.
This is the second one. Oh, wait.
What the fuck are we watching? Like someone said, yeah, is he trying to be like Howard Stern? It's just like a creepy pedo show. It feels like I'm watching, man. I need to take a shower after this broadcast. This is really tacky. And they can put this up on YouTube. But when I fucking, talk out about the Scientology cult, they put me down for harassment and bullying last week. I hope that the algorithm doesn't think I'm harassing and bullying, or they're going to hit me from copyright, because this video is on YouTube in full, because it's hearing all the shit that's coming out of these people's mouths. YouTube algorithm bots, if you can hear me, it's not me saying it.
This one's not a T5. It's just a straight up question. At Sean Turnery, if you could bring back any fad from the 70s, which would it be?
Any fad?
Yeah. Must have had your share on the show. I guess that's what they're referring to.
Yeah, I don't know, because I was born in 76. So I don't know what the fads were. I mean...
Was free love still a thing in the 70s?
Free love was on its way out, right?
Yeah, but it was still happening. I'd definitely bring
I'd say free love, man.
Free love?
If you're looking for...
maybe the early 70s.
Yeah.
I think the no AIDS love.
Well, how about the fad of all those brilliant movies that were made, all those gritty dramas?
Okay, I think let me put it back on normal speed, and then we're going to cover this next part. Carrying on. We're at the 1:12 mark. It's only an hour and 30 minutes. We'll be ending off shortly. If you're just joining us, you probably shouldn't, and you should tune out, because this broadcast fucking sucks to go through. 1:12, conversation about Danny's clothing store, Confederacy, with stylist Ilaria Urbanati. Urbanati is one of the top men's stylists in Hollywood. She has also been mentioned in the Masterson trial. Jane Doe 3, one of the accusers, says Urbanati was her roommate at the time of her assault. Urbanati, not to be confused with Illuminati. This is interesting. Journalist Yashir Ali tweet commenting on Urbanati's social media post about sex trafficking. Ali, a New York Magazine contributor, criticized Urbanati for her hypocrisy as an ardent Scientologist in an organization that has also been alleged to be trafficking humans. I would refer back to Ashton Kutcher, who has suddenly abandoned his post because just because you have a charity and you're a famous Hollywood star, perhaps nefarious activities are being used to hide behind a cover of helping people. Reddit post in the thread about which celebrities you were surprised were in Scientology. User NRock1 commented how the Urbanati was part of a Hollywood clique of Scientologists that included the Masterson, and how disgusting it is that they support Masterson given the alleged assaults. Comment is replied to by another user who claims to know Urbanati, and NROC1 responds with an anecdote about how one of the Masterson accusers turned to Urbanati for support and was abandoned in favor of Masterson. I certainly got the impression that the commenters in the thread were very familiar with Urbanati and her crew. The entire thread is worth checking out, as there's a lot of inside baseball about lesser-known Scientology celebs. Again, critical thinking members in the audience, the awesome community we have, links in the description if you'd like to do some more digging, because I find a lot of this interesting. I just haven't had time to look into it yet. And this is work from Leo, too, who put all this amazing information together in the timestamps. So at 1:14, there's a discussion about Danny being on Twitter. He uses it to promote his work and bands that he likes. 1:16, terrible game segment called Who Tweeted, where Masterson and Pollak guess which celebrity tweeted a statement. Goes on for way too long. Segment has a jingle, etc. At 1:23, Pollak sets up a plug for Clue. It's called QLOO, but since they're hip, trendy, and cool Scientologist celebrity, they have to use some weird word that they translate to Clue, which is yet another of Danny Masterson's investment vehicles. This is another one that seems like it is still doing well. It's described as a cultural discovery platform in a Baltimore Sun article from March 2013 that also confirms that Danny was one of the initial investors, along with Cedric the Entertainer, and we know what happened with him, and Kindler Capital. According to investment site golden.com, Clue just raised $15 million in a Series B funding round in August 2022. So does that mean $15 million or a portion of that actually went to Danny? I've never heard that reported on. If that's true, that's interesting. I also came across a snappy ad for Clue from 2012 on the Clue YouTube page, which only has 22 subscribers, but somehow brought in $15 million, that stars Danny, Cedric the Entertainer, and actress Alex Breckenridge. Breckenridge may also have some ties to Scientology. Jesus, who the fuck in Hollywood doesn't? Here's some articles for you to sleuth on, and we're definitely going to play this ad because it also is super fucking creepy. It's interesting, by the way, that this ad is called Clue, and they flash that up on the screen almost as if it's a subliminal saying, "Here's a clue to what we're going to learn in the future." I'll just take that back. Look at how freaking psychopathic he looks right there. Wow. Okay. Carrying on with the timestamps. We're almost done. So that's the Clue YouTube ad. Again, it only has 22 subscribers, but somehow apparently brought in $15 million. Let's see what else we got here. 124. Danny describes how Clue works and how you tell the app your favorite things, and it finds bars or events you might like in different cities. That's just kind of worth listening to. I mean, is this guy running a trafficking operation or what? Just again, that's just a total guess, YouTube, but there's more to this. I can just tell. There's a lot more to this. And also, I just want to say something real quick. I wanted to do a part 2 video of that one that got taken down by YouTube going into some of this stuff and Ashton's charity and stuff, but we might have to move that over to BitChute because I can only say speculative or certain things on YouTube. And like I said, I'm trying to be a little more careful because I don't, you have to use this platform or try to work around it as long as you can, in my opinion, because it reaches the most people, the people that need to wake up and hear this shit or whatever. Everybody on Rumble and Odyssey and stuff, they already are kind of tuned in on stuff, and it's harder to get an audience over there. But eventually, I'm sure we're going to wind up over there permanently. So please, if you don't mind, link in the description box, subscribe to BitChute and Rumble, because who knows how long we'll be up here with talking about some of the stuff that I really want to actually talk about that goes into this. So at the 124.51 mark, Danny mentions La Poubelle, and we talked about that before. That's right across the street from the Scientology Celebrity Center where everybody hung out at. La Poubelle as a restaurant that Clue would recommend. This restaurant came up as the place where Danny encountered one of the Jane Does during trial testimony recently, so my ears perked up when I heard him mention it. During this extended native ad for Clue, Danny's describing all recommendations Clue can make. I gotta take a drink of water, stand by. We're gonna actually listen to this. Danny is describing all the recommendations Clue can make and references how it can recommend strip clubs. Danny then comments that he always goes to Scores. Is this like a Hollywood script or is this fucking real life? Like, why doesn't he? I mean, how this guy stayed under the radar, caught earlier, is amazing. It makes me think back to that Conan O'Brien clip that we showed you on that at the beginning of that video that was taken down, and maybe Conan and all these Hollywood people knew what was going on. So co-host Sam makes an unfunny, off-color joke about how Clue should recommend to his friends that they should buy him an Asian sex doll. I really didn't even want to mention this, but Danny then talks about how he's in a movie, quote, kind of about that. It's called Hotbot, and the Polish brothers, Mark and Michael Polish, directed it. Strangely enough, this movie actually exists and has a plot that revolves around, of course, a sex robot. This movie looks pretty awful and has a 3.3 rating on IMDb, and this is the plot synopsis. Quote, Hotbot is the hilarious journey of two sexually repressed and unpopular teenage geeks. No wonder Danny got cast, who accidentally discover a lifelike supermodel sex bot. There's the IMDb link, and then the Larry King game is where we're going to end off, and I won't be saying a damn thing about Larry King because it's possible that's what got previous video taken down. So let's start where Danny's talking about Clue at the 126 mark. And again, any of you sleuths that want to follow these links or have more information, please email me or link them in the comments so we can dig further on this shit. So here's 126.
In Toronto, or
that's pretty spectacular. Tell me about the social interacting, like the following and followers and that aspect of it.
Yeah.
In terms of, like you just said, if you know my birthday's coming up, you could go to it.
He's talking about the Clue app, FYI, that we just talked about.
Ask questions of me if you know I'm on it.
If I know that you're on it, and also I could literally just make my own like, you know, Kevin. Mm-hmm. And just put in everything. So somebody would do that with their boss, let's say. Right. Everything they know about their boss. And so when their boss is traveling to Tampa, they know what restaurant to book, what bar to send them to, or a strip club. And I always just go to Scores. And then what hotel and whatnot.
So the question is, how do you know who's on it? Is there a same way, like a search bubble? Yeah. Like I want to see if Sam Levine is on Clue yet.
Yeah. And I think also it can help you with other people who have similar tastes to you. But also you can just type in, as you write SA, all the Sams come up.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
It's pretty dope. I'm excited for it to launch.
So it's not just for people who travel, but new places.
I'm sure he was very excited for it to launch because it does sound like there's more to it than just this innocent app. Sending people to La Poubelle so Danny could allegedly roofie them.
In your backyard that you may not know about.
Yeah.
Where to find
and bands. You know, like if somebody puts it in their 5 favorite bands, or this is their 5 favorite albums right now, or their 5, you know, when they're sad, this is the sad music, and you're depressed, and you're like, oh, Mazzy Star, I remember that. You know, whatever it is, you can sort of get people's, and it sort of lets people know, like, this is all the things that I love in the world. These are my favorite books, and my favorite authors, and my favorite place to travel.
So one of the great things about
Pollak's so cool. He travels the world. What is he into right now? You know?
Jamie, this will be great for you when all of your friends call you when it's someone's birthday. Everyone always calls you or emails you and says, what am I supposed to get Sam? I don't know what the fuck to get Sam. You could say, he's registered on clue.com. Why don't you go fucking find out?
Yeah, go see what he's into, and then it'll give you suggestions.
Might I recommend they all pool their money together to get me one of those Asian sex dolls?
Yeah.
Because those things are not cheap.
Those are expensive.
Yeah.
Put it in your queue on Clue.
I just shot a movie kind of about that called Hotbot, which is the new Polish Brothers movie. Weird because the Polish Brothers make such weird, quirky movies. And this is kind of like a dark comedy about like a senator who has a sex doll, a real life sex doll, and then it escapes, and these kids, it's kind of like Weird Science almost. I didn't pitch that film very well.
I was just going to say, let's go to the clip. Let's go to the clip because you did horribly.
But it's me and Anthony Anderson wearing suits chasing around these kids and this hot sex robot who's played by Cynthia Kirchner.
Who's funny.
Really hot. Anthony's amazing.
Yeah.
And an unbelievable driver.
What?
It is like Weird Science, right? But it'd be interesting to see the trailer and see if there isn't any spin to it or whatever. But yeah, it's obviously just take off of Weird Science.
We had a bunch of driving stunts. He did all of them.
Shut up.
And was literally hanging the Suburban sideways through corner. I mean, everything. He was unbelievable. He was like a stunt driver.
Could he explain why he was so
He had done 2 or 3 different...
Okay, we'll watch the rest of this because we're almost done. So let me just show you what this... I don't even want to say the dude's name, man, but I'll just say LK, shall we? So ironically, at the 131 mark, another bit called the LK game, where the guest does a LK impression while relating a random anecdote and then going to a caller in a city, as was the style of the late, great, I would beg to differ, Leo, but this is your article, LK. Danny's random anecdote as king is, quote, I like to use my suspenders to choke off my balls while masturbating. What a lovely way to end this clip. The guy is nonstop creepy. And then the credits for the podcast roll, Jason Calacanis is the second credit and is listed as an executive producer. I thought this was interesting as Calacanis is a Silicon Valley gadfly who is an early investor in a lot of successful startups like Tesla, Uber, and Robinhood. I love this guy, Leo, man. He digs deep on this shit. There is a connection to Silicon Valley, which actually started to kick off in the San Francisco area. And that appertains to the Laurel Canyon scene, the cults that were kicking off. And there was before Silicon Valley was Silicon Valley, it was, there's a connection between tech and Hollywood, shall we say. It just reinforced for me that there were a lot of plugged in people in the orbit of the Kevin Pollock chat show. It's also pretty obvious throughout the episode that Pollak and Masterson are well acquainted, yes, and overlap in the same influential tech and Hollywood circles. And wasn't Ashton Kutcher an investor? Isn't it interesting how these, young Hollywood hip people always seem to accrue their money through similar investments? It also seems rather noteworthy that Scientology never came up, despite there being a slate of Scientologists mentioned. No shit, right? I'd imagine that either Pollak thought better of it because they are friendly, or I would say that he knows more and knows way better than to bring that up and might, you scratch my back, Danny, I'll scratch yours. Or maybe you scratch my balls, Danny, and I'll scratch yours. They may have discussed it before the appearance. This was quite the revealing journey into the heart of darkness. If you've made it this far, why not subscribe to be notified when I post future stories? Again, link to Leo's Substack and this full video will be in the description box shortly after this video publishes. And as we wind down here, if you guys are still around and haven't vomited already, let's finish off the last couple minutes about what we just covered.
Different stunt driver classes and evasive
And
maneuvering.
he also starred in the movie Drive for the first 6 weeks of shooting before he was replaced by Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, they wanted to go white, I think, for that movie.
I would.
Too soon?
Yeah. All right. We have.
Wow, this guy, Danny, does not miss a beat talking about Ryan. I mean, could you imagine in the woke world that we live in now where you have to be super careful about every damn word you say? Could you imagine any of this shit even slightly flying in today's world? Wow.
Science almost. I didn't pitch that film very well.
I was just going to say, let's go to the clip. Let's go to the clip because you did horribly.
But it's me and Anthony Anderson wearing suits chasing around these kids and this hot sex robot who's played by Cynthia Kirchner.
He's
who's
funny.
Really hot.
Anthony's
amazing.
Yeah.
And an unbelievable driver.
What?
We had a bunch of driving stunts. He did all of them.
Shut up.
And was literally hanging the Suburban sideways through corner. I mean, everything. He was unbelievable. I
just wanted to say something real quick, Wendy. I don't want to say the dude name because I think that talking about him in the video that got taken down by YouTube, it very well could have been him. You can never tell who the hell's reporting on you or whatever. I still don't understand it, but I just don't want to say that name because I don't want the algorithm or anything to pick him up. Okay. So again, just watch the video again. It's right there in the print about who we're actually referring to.
He was like a stunt driver.
Could he explain why he was so
He had done 2 or 3 different stunt driver classes and evasive maneuvering.
And he also starred in the movie Drive for the first 6 weeks of shooting before he was replaced by Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, they wanted to go white, I think, for that movie.
I would.
Too soon?
Yeah. All right. We have come to the conclusion. It is time for the Larry King game for you, sir. Those of you at home and around the world watching.
There it is, Wendy. He just said it for me.
And listening. If you would like to win a Kevin Pollock's Chat Show t-shirt, simply write your own Larry King game, submit it to us at contact@kevinpollackschatshow.com. We do not have one of yours to read this week, so I will explain to our guest the rules on how to do a Larry King game. It's very simple and a fun game to play, by the way, with your friends when you're having libations.
Is it a poker table game?
There could be gambling involved. 3 basic rules. I want a bad Larry King impression. That's the first rule. I don't want a good one. Good one doesn't make me laugh. A bad Larry King makes me laugh really hard.
Okay, so with the Scottish accent.
Perfect. Perfect. Next thing I need you to do is that little bumper moment where right before Larry goes to the phones, he will share something about himself that nobody needs to know. All right? And then
So it's like a private?
Private? Too much information. From Larry. Not from you, from Larry.
TMI.
And TMI, and then the name of the city that you go to on the phone. If it's funny sounding, that's how you bring the whole thing home. You want to see the prototype?
Sure.
Thanksgiving. Bad Larry King impression. Thanksgiving.
That's pretty good, actually.
I like to teabag the gravy boats before the guests arrive. Schenectady, hello. There's the prototype.
You win. I can't.
Damn it, I just muted myself again. What I meant to say is, why does Kevin get to talk bad about Mr. King? And, why doesn't he get nailed for harassment and bullying, assuming it was him that, picked up the video that got deleted? I'll stop harping about that. But I just want to say to the algorithm YouTube bots, it's not me talking and harassing, quote unquote, Larry King. It's Mr. Pollak speaking here.
Where right before Larry goes to the phones, he will share something about himself that nobody needs to know. All right? And then
So it's like a private?
Private? Too much information. From Larry, not from you, from Larry.
TMI.
And TMI, and then the name of the city that you go to on the phone. If it's funny sounding, that's how you bring the whole thing home. You want to see the prototype?
Sure.
Thanksgiving. Bad Larry King impression. Thanksgiving.
That's pretty good, actually.
I like to teabag the gravy boats before the guests arrive. Schenectady, hello. There's the prototype.
I would say that's accurate of Larry King. But again, that's Kevin Pollock saying it, not me.
I can't.
No. That's the prototype. That's the one that we're now sick of hearing for 3 years.
Right.
Bad Larry King impression. TMI. Funny name of a city. That's all you got to do. There's your camera.
Doesn't he?
Yes, he does. If you'd like some glasses and got props.
Okay.
Yep, there's a note that you're looking from. Perfect. You're halfway home.
Do I say his name first?
Whatever you want.
I'm Larry King. Oh, I talked to the... I can't even see the camera outside in these glasses. I'm Larry
He's pausing because I don't think he knows how to do a good impression.
King, and I like to use my suspenders to choke off my balls while masturbating.
Excuse me. Again, just to hammer this home, that's Danny Masterson, YouTube, bagging on Larry King, saying he wants to teabag him or some shit. Not me.
The one that we're now sick of hearing for 3 years.
Right.
Bad Larry King impression, TMI, funny name of a city. That's all you got to do. There's your camera.
Doesn't he?
Yes, he does. If you'd like some glasses, we've got props.
Okay.
Yep, there's a note that you're looking from. Perfect. You're halfway home.
Do I say his name first?
Whatever you want.
I'm Larry King.
Oh, I talked to the... I can't even see the camera outside in these glasses.
I'm Larry King, and I like to use my suspenders to choke off my balls while masturbating. Syosset, go.
And that's how you play the Larry King game.
I'm high from those glasses.
You're welcome. Sit there for 90 seconds uncomfortably while I wrap things up and gather your thoughts so that you may drive home.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you so much. Honestly.
Thank you. I love
That
you.
was
Thank you
really,
for having me.
really great.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic, Danny. That was great. For someone asking who's the man in the hat, that would be actor Kevin Pollock. Please see the beginning of the interview or this video where we talk about him. And if you're just joining us, you arrived at the end of the broadcast where we covered a resurfaced old Danny Masterson interview where he quote unquote jokes about sexual assault. That's about all I can take for tonight, my friends. I'm going to go ahead and take a shower, relax, and see if I can't find that wonderful movie from 2009 starring Danny Masterson, Bijou Phillips, Chris Masterson, and the father of the Masterson clan. What are you guys going to do the rest of the night? I'm sure we'll see you tomorrow. We got a couple of pinned comments. I have been trying to pay attention to those that put the question marks beforehand, and then we'll roll out of here, and I'm sure we'll see you very soon. So, she is absolutely protecting their money. Carp, yes, this is in reference to Bijou divorcing out of the blue, quote unquote, her husband, Danny Masterson, today. When the civil suit comes, that's the only way she'll be able to keep their property and assets. I guarantee you she will speed up the divorce process with her. Thanks for the insights. Can't disagree. And there might also be some Scientology behind that. Philosophy in the house. How are you doing? I've met people like Danny. He's an absolute pervert and sex addict. That's why he gets off on violence and saying sick things. Yes, and that seems to be rampant in Hollywood. And as somebody said earlier, I do think there's an awakening too, a reckoning, if you will. This shit needs to come to light. Who is the guy and the hat's name? Yeah, that's Kevin Pollock, Chase. And I think that about wraps it up, my friends. Really appreciate you hanging out, man. It's cool just getting, I mean, I don't know too many of you guys personally, but I do feel like I get to know you personally just by seeing the same familiar faces over again. And of course, you know, we all know Goldie. What on earth, young lady, are you doing up? There has to be 5 of you. There has to be. Because what time is it, Goldie? It's 11:30 in LA right now, my time. 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. Is it not 2:30 a.m.? And then we did a broadcast earlier this morning at frickin' 7 a.m. and you're up. I really appreciate your help, Goldie. I don't know how the hell you do it, but it's great to just to have you here, man. I really appreciate just everything that you've done. Please let me in on your secret, how you do it. Also, Goldie has a coffee account. Goldie, please feel free to drop that link so people can frickin' support you for all your hard work anytime you'd like. And as we end off here, friends, we'll end off with the usual phrase of stay safe, try in this world to stay sane, and most definitely stay cold free.
Physical labor, an intense ideological study used to break the subject's will. Or is that the truth?